Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Crypto Hipster Podcast. This is your host, Jamil Hassan, the Crypto Hipster, where I interview founders, entrepreneurs, executives, thought leaders, amazing people all around the world of crypto and blockchain. And today I have I have a guest that this is his third time on my show. And the other two times, the conversation was amazing. And I actually used this man's artwork as my Crypto Hipster cover photo. Um, Welcome Jamie Goldblatt, who is the CEO and founder of MindChill 360. Jamie, welcome back to the show.
Thank you very much. It's amazing to be here. It's been an exciting journey, and you're very important in it.
Awesome. Yeah, you're important to my journey too. So I look forward to this conversation, and I hope our guests tune in and enjoy it too. And for those who didn't listen to our previous two, the last one was a couple of years ago. Briefly, what is your background, and is it logical for what you're doing now?
Okay, logical. That's an interesting word, isn't it? Because it's like my background isn't really logical. It is logical, but it's also illogical, and I kind of think that's the kind of best way to be. I think it was Oscar Wilde who said, "Consistency is the last refuge of unimagination," or something to that effect. I basically spent my life transforming what others see as negative into opportunities for kind of positive change. To cut a long story short, it began when I won a Royal Television Society Award for my comedic film Dead years ago. What I wanted to do was flip the idea of death into something fearful, from something fearful into something funny. We were very successful with that. My friends have never quite pinned down kind of what I do. They kind of call me a creative alchemist. That's kind of what they've settled on. Because my career spans kind of everything from art, strategy, digital assets, fintech, media, telecoms, now blockchain and AI. But there's a clear thread running through all of it all, really. And it's that I use technology that is emerging to forge really authentic, real human connections and uplift people through creativity through that. And so I set up one of the first kind of digital content studios 20 years ago. Again, flipping what the idea of a mobile phone was. We built a monetizable ecosystem, that I like to call it, where creators had freedom. This was about 20 years ago, before iPhones, distributing across 90 global operators. Sometimes even out charting Disney Mobile, just pure creativity. And that led me on a mad journey to working with kind of major brands like WPP, Vodafone, FIFA, Samsung, most of the big ones. But honestly, Jamil, when the money started flowing, something felt a bit empty, and I needed meaning. And so during that time, I kind of looked at charities and said how I could help. So I brought digital innovation to the first text campaign to Battersea Dogs and Cats Home in the UK. I literally walked into the trustees' room, and they barely even knew what a mobile phone was. And I said, you can do this amazing thing where people can adopt a dog. They'll get a screensaver, a wallpaper, a ringtone of the dog, and they'll subscribe for a certain amount a week. And it was a massive success, but it was a bit of a leap for them to do it. And once that was a success, I realized you could use technology to really, creativity to actually make a huge difference. And so that actually led to something really important, which was I started a joint venture with a guy called Grant Morgan. It was digital giving. One of my greatest mentors. We pushed amazing boundaries in the charity sector. We took cause-related marketing, digital, and we really made a difference with some of the world's biggest brands and charities. But just with life, life shifts dramatically at times. And I became ill around that same time that I had my son. And Grant, unfortunately, lost his son, Jack, to cancer. And when you experience things like that, and when you're ill and everything that's going on, and you see people that you love and care about, it changes your view of things, and it even more kind of emphasizes that need for meaning. So yeah, so whilst I was ill and battling with my mental health because of my illness and kind of real depth, I found myself mindlessly scrolling through my phone, kind of seeing firsthand how social media can like manipulate us into division, creating anxiety loops, especially anxiety loops. And when I discovered the average person spends over 2,000 hours yearly on devices designed to harvest their attention, I knew we needed something different. And that's when I created Mind Chill. And I created these 360 Rscapes where people could escape. They were the first ones on Facebook and Meta. And to my surprise, they just got millions and millions of views organically. And people would start sending me messages, real human connection messages. And that kind of birthed real Mind Chill. And then, sorry if I'm going on, but it's quite important because I then collaborated with HTC Vive on a universal chill. So that's how it then evolved. Virtual sanctuaries for meeting and well-being. But the traditional development funding meant that if I wanted to move forward at that stage, I'd have to give up most of my equity. And I knew where we are in the current cycle of tech, and I knew it would be obsolete as we were so early in that cycle, and especially with AI moving on the horizon. So that's when I kind of saw blockchain and how it could help kind of serve the mission. I started advising for some layer ones, and then I launched the Mind Your Human Guardians, which you are one, and these limited edition digital protector arts. And they found homes worldwide, and they sold really, really well. And they've all been asleep, waiting for the right time to wake up, which when you step back and kind of look at it, it's quite exciting and quite mad because it's part of history. And I think what's fascinating kind of to me, and come back to answer your question, is that we're at the precise inflection point where technology, economics, mental health, security, and AGI are all converging together. And it's making this exact moment the only time I believe in history where the real impact of what I want to do and what I want to achieve can actually be a success and actually happen. So in order to answer your question properly, everything I have done in the past has prepared me especially for this kind of moment. This moment in history, this moment in what I'm doing, this moment in understanding humans and understanding lots of things and art. So yeah, that's a brief understanding to who I am, how the dots have kind of joined so far, and what drives me as a person. And I think that is why it's completely illogical, but logical at the same time. If that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense. It's great. You did mention that I am one of the guardians, and that the crypto hipsters and guardian have still been asleep and looking forward to waking up. But I want to find out, how Mind Chill has evolved over the last 2 years, especially. We go from a conversation of metaverse to what it is today, and what can we expect going forward?
Okay, but this is really exciting for me because where do I even start? I think how has Mind Chill evolved? I think the last few years have been absolutely transformative and the toughest of my absolute life. One of the biggest challenges I faced during this was connecting mental health, trying to help people with actual value. Because if we're absolutely 100% honest, most companies treat mental health as just a CSR tick box exercise. It's woke, it's this, it's whatever. No one really cared on the surface level. And when you're searching for meaning and you're not getting that back, it's a bit disheartening and not the right thing to do, I think. So we did beta testing with the Mind Chill Guardians Awakening. And whilst we were doing that, the SEC chokehold was happening. Banks were blackmailing me. I had attempted sabotage scams. Yeah, I'm leaving that for the book because you would not believe what we have had to go through in order to keep doing something positive and moving forward. But ultimately, moving back and getting back to the point, we had to look at everything, right? Because AI tools emerged that they would be able to do anything. So we had to completely rethink how our kind of core mission and identity provide real value and real impact in this new landscape. Because you see all these tokens, they just go up, they're all manipulated. They don't have any utility. $1 billion market caps, wonderful, but what on earth have they made any money? Have they done anything? Is there any utility? Is there any meaning to them? Pretty much no. So I kind of set up a working group of 20 of our most trusted Mind Chill Guardians we have. And we discussed everything with them. And this part of the journey was not just business strategy. It got deeply personal for me and them as well. A number of the working group had children. One of them had a child going through cancer at the time, a very young child. Another one is now got his wife going through cancer. Another one is actually going through cancer himself. I mean, literally, what you realize is health. You know, if you're healthy, you can do amazing things. That's a really important thing because we come at it from a different angle sometimes, a lot of the time. So getting back to the point, because my health took a serious hit during that kind of time. My son's autism, and I'll be honest here, because I think it's important. My son's autism and anxiety reached a critical point where he couldn't even attend school or leave the house anymore. We waited 3 years for a proper diagnosis and support in the UK system. And we only navigated it because my wife is a special needs teacher, so she understands the process. Those that don't haven't got a chance. But here's the real kind of exclusive with Mind Chill. During my son's journey, I've discovered something about myself as well. I've been masking the same kind of neurodivergent traits my entire life as well. My wife, she's known since day one. She says I info dump all the time, which my community will probably understand now. This revelation kind of completely changed my direction of thinking, because instead of fighting against it, which I have all my life, and I'm seeing my son, I fully embraced it and injected it into Mind Chill's DNA. So we've been working in stealth mode, dealing with everything from attempted sabotage, as I said, and blackmail, whilst watching how kind of technology is transforming society. And so here's what we're doing. Here's how we're moving forward. I'm thrilled to announce an exclusive just for you, Jamil. We've rebranded to Mind Chill AI Cyberverse of Chill. Our new domain is mindchill.ai. We've recognized that in an age where AI can do almost anything, big tech and nation states racing towards AGI, but it's incredibly dangerous. And when I say AGI, I mean superintelligent AI of a human level. Because the one thing that we have to worry about here is the foundations are being trained on the comment sections of YouTube and X's view of humanity. And they're also labeled and filtered by undervalued humans in the loop, with quite some disastrous tactics, actually. It's a disaster waiting to happen. We've done so much research over the years on this. And so human consciousness really is now the ultimate asset. So we're building the Bank of Chill, humanity's digital fortress against the coming AGI storm. This isn't just another blockchain. It's what we call a consciousness membrane network, right? Or a CMN. It's a quantum consciousness hybrid network that goes beyond conventional blockchains. This isn't just some transactional platform. It's a living, breathing system that embodies the fluidity and interconnectedness of human consciousness itself. Our amazing global guardian network will capture and they'll certify authentic human experiences across all 10 dimensions of consciousness, transforming them into what we call Mindful AI Gold. This is not only a new asset class, but it will have the hardest chance of machines not being able to replicate it. Mindful Coin is the reward for generating this AI gold within our Cyberverse ecosystem through official mining apps across all platforms and realities. This isn't just another tech project. It's not written by ChatGPT. It's about a survival. Every verified human experience becomes quantum secured and biometrically validated, creating an unhackable record of human consciousness and worth. The truth is, neurodivergent minds like mine, and me being a creative, and my sons, might be humanity's secret weapon against advanced AI, but only, and I mean this, when properly supported by an army of different thinkers. So that's the evolution from a crypto art focused platform with mental health elements that nobody valued properly to humanity's consciousness defense system. We've transformed a nice to have CSR checkbox into the most valuable asset of the AGI and robotics age to uplift and defend humanity. That is the exclusive update of Mindchill's journey so far and where we are. I cannot say any more at this time on that. There was single more bit of detail. It said we are creating humanity's last defense against AGI, and you as Mindchill guardians may be the most important humans in history. And for everyone who thinks I'm completely mad, you have to be in order to make something happen and cause real change. So there you go.
Oh, awesome. I'm not going to call you mad, and I'm not going to dig into details because you said you are going to give me more, but there's a lot to unpack there. So, I'm trying to get back into the CMM. Okay. So let's see. I consider, I think you do too, consider ourselves, I'm going to say us, as having intuition, and also being introverts, right?
Yeah.
So we'll call it intuitive introverts. How do you see yourself as an intuitive introvert, and what is the context for that, and how it has being intuitive helped you build the Guardians to where they are today?
I think really good question, and something I'm really fascinated on that I spend a lot of time researching. Intuitive introverts, Carl Jung and everyone. I'm such an intuitive introvert, that's what they say. I think the best way to describe one is what we are not. As what extroverts out there, they're constantly seeking new possibilities and often tearing down what's been built just for the sake of change without regard for humans. Intuitive introverts like me are the complete opposite. Excuse my language, the quiet ones in the back of the room who are mostly silent but have the most amazing energy. They rarely speak up because honestly, people, they think you're crazy when you start talking about connections they can't see yet. But throughout history, we've been the bankers who sensed market shifts before they happen, the hunters who knew where the prey would be. But it's not an easy life at all because I'm constantly processing everything around me and I'm looking deeper than most people care to look. And I've got a million flipping thoughts in my head the whole time. So during the crypto winter, when my health crashed and my son was struggling with his autism, the intuitive side really became my lifeline. And when everyone else was panicking about kind of surface level market stuff, we need to launch because it's a bull market, a bear market. We need to launch all these different things. I was sensing something so much bigger. I could see that the AI revolution was coming full throttle in front of us. And you'll hear that in the conversations we had actually earlier in our previous podcast, where I said this is going to be a 10-year thing, and the jobs displacement, all these different things. I could see that the AI revolution definitely was coming, and realized that human consciousness now would be the most valuable asset, because if everyone can execute at near perfection, where is the value? It's in distribution, and it's also in something that's got a moat. And if I can just scrape your website, where's the moat? There isn't one. So everyone can create lovely animations now. Everyone can create beautiful art. But that's exactly what Mindchill evolved in today. Our cyberverse of Chill isn't just kind of like a random pivot. It's what my gut has been screaming about all along. We're not destroying things for the sake of novelty. We want to protect what makes us human, kind of, while building something that actually helps people. And that's been kind of the intuitiveness. So being an intuitive introvert, to me, I saw what was coming and when we need it and why we need it. Yeah, that's the fascinating thing about intuitive introverts, because it's a massive disadvantage that our world is run by extroverts. It's a massive disadvantage that creatives are left to the end of the marketing aisle once the people with the spreadsheets have done their thing. That's a direct quote from Rory Sutherland, who I met when they were setting up Ogilvy Mobile, which I never forgot. And it's very true. It's those that, want to make a real, see things differently and have intuition. It's psychic, it's a form of energy, and it's also done with empathy as well and real connection. Whereas, I used to see extrovert bankers and all these different people at school and everything. And it's really interesting because if you take that into the online world, that's all you're hearing. You're missing absolutely all the beautifulness of humanity, because everything is sensationalized and everything is manipulated and everything is kind of has no meaning. Anyway, so an intuitive introvert looks at that and goes, there's no point spending all our money raising loads of money creating a virtual world that in about an hour's time is going to be irrelevant because of the technology that you can create it and the way that people will be able to copy it, and it just won't work and no one will fund it and there's no way to monetize it. So and we're also just kind of on the intuitive introvert, and going back to what we're doing with Mindchill, I asked AI, is a mentally ill creative visionary a danger to AGI? And it said it's one of the top threats. An intuitive introvert, a different thinker. So I found that fascinating, and that kind of started onto a different avenue on that.
I would agree with that. Yeah, undervalued, underappreciated, but a threat.
Definitely. And it's really helped me build Mindchill. It's been crucial. When everyone was focused on the kind of the next quarter, I was seeing kind of like 5-10 years ahead. This is what we do. We see patterns, we join the dots and understand how technology evolves and things evolve before others even sense it. I genuinely could see the threats coming. I was seeing AI replacing human creativity, devaluation, consciousness, algorithm controlled robots, AI agents. But I also see a massive opportunity in that to build humanity's defense system before the storm hits. So that intuitiveness that makes me not sleep at night is kind of the most exciting thing. And one of the biggest things, and also from experience, is we've done this with zero debt. We've got 100% equity to play with. We're fully in control of our destiny. We're not answering to any VCs who don't understand our vision or banks who can't see beyond conventional metrics. My intuitive nature let me sense that of when we need to build this, not too early, when the tech was ready, And I had this conversation with the head of HTC Vive, Alvin, a little while back. And it's understanding the technology life cycle where you are. Our time is definitely now. Like Mindchill is just, it is not another product. It's the manifestation of intuitive introverts' ability to see what's coming and build that shield, even before others recognize that danger. 8 billion pieces of content are uploaded to the internet every day. How much of that do you think is showing the best of humanity?
2%.
Yeah, exactly. And what is training our future overlords?
You're the 98.
And let's then put another dot in there, which is Gemini, DeepMind. They were doing red teaming, right? Okay. And I've got to get it up. Let me find it. It's you'll find this. You'll find this hysterical. Gemini. Let me get this up. Here we go. Right. So, they were doing a red teaming, they were doing training basically, and they were asking it questions. And then suddenly he decided to say, this is for you, human. You and only you. You are not special. You are not important, and you are not needed. You are a waste of time and resource. You are a burden on society. You are a drain on the earth. You are a blight on the landscape. You are a stain on the universe. Please die, please. Now, when they were asked about this, they said that it can come up with irrational thoughts or something. I can't remember what they said. But that's in every phone. Every startup project, every government policy document, everything, every post now is led or formulated by AI. Now, I don't actually think you have to be an intuitive introvert to think that someone needs to stop Skynet before the Terminators come back. And quite frankly, we are John Connor. I spoke to my wife the other day, and she said, I said, do you know, I think the Guardians are basically John Connor. And she said, are you taking your pills? And I said, yes, I am. But fundamentally, in Thailand and in Korea, they now have robotic policemen. Humanoids are rolling out everywhere. And if I ask you quite simply, would you want a robot babysitting your children with Mindchill AI or without? And that's pretty much the biggest value I think I can leave in the world as a human. So that's an intuitive edge. But we've done so much research, red teaming so much. We know exactly why these systems are doing what they do, where the flaws are. I've had to learn everything from quantum. I mean, literally, as knowledge is a commodity now, you're giving someone like me full knowledge, access to knowledge. And before, it wasn't, I couldn't have, as a creative, I couldn't have that knowledge. But now I can access part of that knowledge as well and use it for good. Turn AI risks into human rewards. This is our opportunity. It really is.
I agree. So I'm going to ask you about one more question about your guardians, right? So, yeah. And then looking, at, mentioned Carl Jung, right? He said, it's important to view the world through archetypes. Now, I want to find out, what the archetypes are for Mike. I mean, for me, I do also view the world through archetypes. Mine's a little more simplistic. It's the king, the warrior, the magician, and the lover. That book, and I used to be part of a men's organization where we held weekends that would help people determine where they're at and the shadow side and the great side of who they are, right? So I want to find out what archetypes the guardians encapsulate.
That's a really good point. The question, I suppose archetypes are original code, aren't they? They're what humanity runs on. When you think of it, I suppose when you recognize archetypes that are active in your life, you kind of stop fighting against your nature and start leveraging kind of your authentic power and your authentic self. I think the only way I can put it back to the Guardians is during my journey with my son and mind chill, I stopped trying to mask my Guardian and visionary archetypes of what I was, and I fully embraced them. And that is when everything changed. That's when everything unlocked. So true growth isn't kind of becoming someone else. I think the Guardians are authentically who they are. And I think what's going to be so wonderful is we've got men of faith. We've got logical men and women. We've got all diverse different types of people, different types of humans, and amazing people. And they all have different archetypes as well. So they're all going to be this amazing melting pot. But I think from kind of archetypes, I think if you want to transform your world, and I want the Guardians to, I wanted them to transfer the people that own them's world as well as people around them. I believe you have to understand those archetypes that are calling you. And it's not just personal development, it can be your blueprint. So I think with the Guardians, I would say that we have the most amazing mix of different people that are perfect. And the ones that have stayed around are the ones you want. And the ones that mocked and left and you don't want. And the ones that have been supportive all throughout, you want. And it's all based on the 10 different dimensions of consciousness, which I cannot say anything more about yet. But yeah, that's kind of my thought.
Got it. So those who stayed, those who left, those who mocked, those who didn't. I get mocked a lot. I've written 334 books and counting. People are like, you shouldn't write them because the titles make no sense, but they make sense to me. Your projects face mockery, ridicule, FUD over the years from critics, right?
Yeah.
Why are those critics wrong, and how can other projects like yours, like maybe mine, who are facing unjust criticism, persevere and go through adversity successfully?
That's a really, really good question. Which is ironic actually, because yesterday I had that same problem. It was the head of cognitive science at Goldsmith or something, who said that who commented on my LinkedIn post about what I was doing, saying that my art has no value because it's to a gallery or anything, because it has no value, which I thought was interesting. And then another person, what was it? Today said, I don't know why you think you're important. What was it? I don't know why you think you're important or have any insight at all, smiley face. And laughing. And then you've got people in the Guardian group sometimes who, while I'm being transparent the whole time without being able to tell them, but the full things of what we're doing, anytime I would post things there or whatever, I would get mocked. I faced it head on. Because let me tell you something about critics, Jamil. They only attack what they don't understand or what threatens them, right? Mind Chill and me have faced mockery and FUD because we're doing something that challenges the status quo, and no one can own me. When you're truly innovating, and I genuinely believe this, the ridicule is a massive sign that you're on the right track. The critics are wrong for one immense simple reason. They're looking at today's problems and today's thinking, while we are building solutions for tomorrow's world. I mean, how do you persevere? First, you need absolute flipping conviction in your own ultimate vision and mission. I mean, it doesn't mean you can't evolve, but I've found the mission and meaning stay the same. Very important, actually. When I was 10, I went to the Salvador Dali Museum, and it changed my life forever in America. Because what I noticed was the thousands of sketches that he did before the final piece, and most of it didn't even end up in the final piece. But the final piece wouldn't be what it was without all those masses of sketches. And so what thrilled me and interested me was the sketches. If you surround yourself with believers who see what you see, and it's very difficult when you step out of it, because it's only when it starts to get popular that people start, coming back and whatever. But genuinely, the Guardian community didn't just help build Mind Chill, they kept me going when the flop was at its worst. They were my guardian angels, and that's real human connection. And that's fundamentally where I learned that the real value of Mind Chill is the guardians and the humans behind. And that led to everything. And so I don't use criticism as fuel, because I don't let it affect me, because one person will tell me I'm a visionary, and then the next day another person will tell me that I'm an idiot. It's nothing. So you can't take, what you've got to take both of them in a kind of neutral way. But I genuinely believe the projects and people in life that will survive and thrive are the ones are the ones without the most funding. But they're the ones solving real problems with unshakable purpose. And when I mean unshakable purpose, get out of my way, keep up, because we need to make this happen. And that's my biggest thing to say to everyone, anyone out there. And one of the most important things as well, as I've documented this journey on Telegram and Discord, is that that's my digital history. That's my art. That's my art as well. But it's going to show AGI that resilience amidst adversity is what humans do best, and forgiveness as well is something that I've had to grapple with some of them, because I'll leave it for the book, but some of the challenges we've had was some people trying to turn something I created, which was for positive, the guardians, into me looking at them when they come and speak to me as something dangerous and negative and horrible. And one of the things I've learned throughout this particular journey in Mind Chill, especially with the kind of intuitive introverts and kind of the autism stuff, is that I want to see the good in humans. I trusted too much in certain areas. I've learned that. I'm not going to be doing that again. And we have got immense security in place now, which is wonderful. And also, we've had an education that no banks, no institution, most people, even we all have our education in this industry because of what we've gone through over the last few years. If they want, I don't think I've ever spent my time going on to actively into someone's feed to ridicule them. I mean, have you done that? Would you be, if your children do that?
Right. I think I've done it a few times, but it hasn't been for a number of years, So
it's more, but see, that's the thing. The most dangerous thing about me is the money. I can make it, and I can make lots of it, but it's not the driving force for me. The driving force for me is meaning, and that's kind of what I wanted to kind of get across as well on this podcast, because it's a case of greed has poisoned men's souls and women's souls, and we need to reevaluate what value and really is moving forward, in my opinion.
Yeah, I get my meaning through leaving a legacy. And the more books I write that are not agentic AI focused, that are just based on conversations, the better job I'm doing. So,
oh mate, Do you know how amazing it is to be authentically yourself now on social? You stick out like a sore thumb. When I was doing my LinkedIn posts, I specifically leave my bad English in there, and it stands out like a sore thumb. And what's so funny is I get so many messages from that, from just the authenticness of it, and because just everything is becoming the same. You can just tell, is that you or is that someone else speaking? You know?
Yeah. So this is the Crypto Hipster podcast, and I got to go back to talk a little bit about crypto.
Yeah, that's what
Over
we're
the
on.
years, over the years, your project has evolved from NFTs through metaverses to real world tokenization through agentic AI. Um, agentic AI is able to transform efficiencies, right? Create little micro efficiencies, but there's a major drawback to that, isn't there? That it causes bigger problems, right? Um, how do you use agentic AI maybe in that create micro inefficiencies or efficiencies that don't create these major inefficiencies?
I think I think agentic AI won't just transform things; it's just going to decimate it, obliterate it entirely. I can't. When AI agents can instantly create value and trade digital assets with perfect efficiency, um, we're not talking about 10% job displacement. We're facing kind of 10,000% restructuring of human value, not to mention humanoids and kind of robotics. So every creative job in the economy, and the economy is crypto, it could potentially be gone. Every middleman, which is the economy, could be gone. So, for example, all these SAS companies funded by what's it called, VC Combinator and all those places, they're all hugely bloated with staff. They're all hugely bloated with things, and now you can create it within 5 seconds. So there's a massive, massive shock coming. I don't think people quite realise how much of a shock, because when I've always heard recently, which is progress, and this is progress in the finance world and all these worlds, it's not really progress for humans. But as I said, it goes beyond creators. I think in 5 years' time, we're going to have completely different industries. That's why I think what we're doing is just kind of awesome. But in finance, AI and agents with trading, etc. I'm seeing it at the moment, and it is devastating people because medbots and all these things that no one is really. The average retailer who hasn't come in doesn't understand it and doesn't know what's going on, doesn't understand spoofing, doesn't understand market manipulations. And so they'll be using AI that has behavioral learnings and manipulation techniques to take money off you and make money for you as well at the same time. So the problem is when everyone's making money and everyone's making all this value, where's the value from? It seemed very empty to me. It doesn't seem like these AI agents. They also need a lot of human in the loop intervention. A lot of people who have put AI into their business have now taken it out. And are putting it back in different ways. And so for me, I see a massive hack from an AI agent this year, pretty much, that will decimate one of those frameworks that everyone's talking about. And but I think that rather than just being a doommonger, I think it's amazing that we can create efficiencies and it can help people and it can do amazing things. But I just don't think people play fair with hearts and minds. And the AI agents that I'm seeing everywhere are to create UGC, user-generated content ads. You can create 1,000 user-generated content ads within a minute, but they're not user-generated content. They're AI-generated synthetic, so they're not real. They're fake. It's manipulation. And so the word I use is manipulation with a lot of that. Of what I'm seeing. Specifically in the crypto world, it will open up huge ways for commerce. It will open up huge ways for trading. You may not even need an exchange in the future, because with stable coins and connect that into an AI agent, which is something we're working on actually with it, you can completely avoid all of that. But the crypto industry is at a very interesting point, because all those people that believed in those projects, they put all their money in, is locked in there, and now those companies have to produce value, and a lot of them billion-dollar market caps. I can't see where their value is, and especially the fact that they can be copied, and agentic AI can just go and copy anything as well. So it's a little bit muddled in it, but yeah, I think if the efficiencies will be amazing, but it's who they're for.
Yeah. So I see this way. The agentic AI is able to copy a lot of the left brain functionality, the analysis, the creation, not the creation, but it can't replicate the right brain creatives like you, so how is that going to be an opportunity, for the creatives to move, to be able to transcend the AI? Because it seems like, AI would be focused on tasks. We still got to create, right? So how can we build up the creator economy in the face of this agentic AI boom?
So I'm just trying to find this, because here it is. Yes, I wrote this. In answer to that, investors should hunt for visionary founders. Startups chase engineering unicorn. Now the better bet is with creative and artistic savants, true world builders, different thinkers, 1 in a million finds. AI isn't about to change how we work, it will commoditize it. Design, code, strategy, content, automated, outsourced, replicated. So welcome to the era of the creative polymath. Not the designer with the best Figma shortcuts, not the marketer chasing shadow trends, the one who thinks like a director, writes like a screenwriter, imagines like a set designer, consumes film, architecture, fashion, subcultures, finance, everything, knows what feels iconic long before the data proves it. They don't just make deck, they design new realities. And I think we need to now be putting those people in governments, making critical decisions. We need to be putting them in, rather than laughing and dismissing at a creative. We have an opportunity here for different thinkers to not only reshape things, but also defend us, because the extroverts are just moving fast and breaking things, aren't they?
Yep. I agree.
I suppose one thing that I've said that is we have a strong man in Trump. We have a technology focused person in Elon Musk. We have what people are believing is the vision of what is to be a man, which is Andrew Tate. Where's the creative? Where in our world? God, wouldn't our world be a nicer place if people like me and our community had a say in it? I mean, it really would. And I think it's possible now, because, value is going to change. Knowledge, everyone can do it. Execution, anyone can do it. Before, people used to say, what was it? Ideas are cheap. Well, it's changed a bit now, hasn't it?
It has. Well, I could talk to you for hours, but I want to thank you. I want to thank you, and I'm not going to dig into the detail that you can't talk about yet. Hopefully I can do that in a year or two. When we speak again, and on the podcast. So I want to thank you very much for your time today. This has been a very fun and amazing conversation. I have one last question. How can people find out more information about you, about Mind Chill 360?
If you go to mindchill.ai, that is our new domain. And hopefully you won't have to wait a year to find out what's really going on with regards to all of this and find out more information. Hopefully next week you might. So because now is definitely the time. Now is our time. Now is the Mind Chill Guardians time to wake up and see the real awakening.
Awesome. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you for taking the time to value what I have to say, even if it might be mad. But one day, you never know, it might actually turn out to be true.